On live.
Okay. Call to order the Finance Committee for September 23rd of 2024. Marla, would you like to take the notice of the presence of a quorum?
John Dart,
Here.
Kurt Wanninger,
Here.
Patrick Tam.
Here.
We have a quorum.
First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from 8/26/2024. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the minutes from 8/26/2024.
Second.
Okay, a motion by John, second by Patrick.
Thanks for just dramatic pauses are more fun.
I'll call the roll. Patrick Tam. No, all right, we're voting on the motion to approve the minutes. Is that a yeah?
Yes.
All in favor,
Okay.
aye.
Yes.
Kurt Wanninger.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, John Dart.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries.
Okay, John, Daniel walked in. Okay, any other items on the budget schedule update? Just waiting for council.
Through discussions with Danielle and the mayor, the budget approval will be on the October 28th agenda. That gives us 30 days between now and then to continue to, I guess, put some spreadsheets together, ask questions, get all the questions answered, and see if there's any adjustments or modifications to the budget. Danielle has called for a meeting on Thursday, which appreciate you doing that to get us moving in the right direction here. And so it'll be Noah Heron and I and Marla and Kelly, along with the mayor, and I think Jonathan's in that meeting. So there's a host of us in the meeting just to start those discussions, and then whatever questions, concerns we have, we can start the ball rolling in the right direction. So I think we're on schedule. We're sitting pretty good. No major concerns or questions at this point.
Main thing is it just gotta be approved at the 28th meeting, cause it has to be approved by,
November 1st, has to be in Gateway by November
Yeah.
1st, sorry Marla.
Okay.
And the mayor will be back at that day. I think that was also part of the reason to put it out to the 28th, is he will be back for that meeting versus the 14th, he was not in town, so.
sounds
Yep.
good?
Yep.
Kind of on the same vein, is at least Danielle and Kelly and I had discussed maybe moving forward the salary ordinance introduction to the prior meeting, so you guys don't have to suspend the rules on the 28th, if that would suit you.
Let's try to tackle all of those, cause there's questions around the salaries that came from a couple of counselors. So if we can tackle that in the next 2 weeks, we can put that on the agenda for the 14th. Yeah, but let's make that a priority then.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to clerk treasurer internal controls, work in progress.
Yeah, so online here is what I have proposed thus far. I was able to share this with Kelly on Friday, and it's a great foundation. I can't put words in your mouth.
No, so when I was at Baker Tilly, I used to do these for clients, and she's done a phenomenal job of the way she's got it structured, and she's basically, you guys are gonna hate me on the acronyms here, but COSO, she's followed the internal guidance for according to State Board of Accounts, and COSO has it nicely laid out on all the 17 principles and the 5 components, so she's done a great job.
Thank you. I don't know, I think you guys have heard rumblings about this, but our current internal controls policy was actually more than 1,000 pages. So SBOA wouldn't even accept it. A lot of it was, I think the entire accounting and uniform compliance guide is in there, and that's not necessary. That's the rules we should follow, but what are our rules? So that's the purpose of creating a separate document so that they can see our defined roles for people who are doing not only accounting, but cash handling and how we segregate our job duties. So it's really for you to look at now. There are some blanks I have to continue filling in. And then, like, I did reach out to Mandy Trott down in community development, and she said she'd have something to me maybe by the end of the week. We'll continue to cover all our bases, but Kelly also said there was some great stuff she could send to add to it.
And kind of beef it up, like, you know, eventually have like an org chart and even just some of the reference materials that the internal control manual is based on. But she's got it very nicely laid out. I don't wanna take your thunder, you're the one who did it.
Well, it's important to have you agree if I was way off
So
track.
if you have this, so you'll see when you go through it, like if you start on page 2, you know, at the top, she started to, she's got in the ordinance and resolutions that are applicable to the city. And we'll eventually, I say we, she's been doing this, anyway, even have some copy of those ordinance. We typically will have the ordinance resolutions as part of the overall internal controls manual, so that when you hand this to the State Board of Accounts, they've got it all and they can see it. And sometimes we'll even put in like SOP for various offices, just so they can see what our standard procedures are or a sample of like what someone is doing. We try to lay it out for the State Board of Accounts as well as we can, because then it just mitigates any questions. But what I really like the way she set this up, and it's what we typically do, is she outlines the control you look at the components, she's showing control environment, and then all the principles that relate to that particular component unit. And as you go through, you'll see that she's done that throughout, like component 2, the risk assessment, then there's principles that relate to that risk assessment to that particular component unit, I keep saying unit, I'm sorry, component. Sorry, didn't realize I was gonna be talking on internal controls today.
Sorry.
No, that's all right, I can, hey, you know what, I'm good. So, and then, you know, you even goes down to component 5, there's the monitoring activities and the principles that go under the monitoring activities. So she's stated what those principles are, and then she outlines how they're meeting those at this point in time. And so what's great about this is then you know, as the governing body, can go through and see if there's anything that you feel like we're missing from an internal control perspective. But more importantly, it helps Marla maintain internal controls in her office. And if she feels like there's an issue, we can address it ahead of time. And one of the things that we'll add eventually to this is just even a document at the back. What the State Board of Accounts likes to see is not only did you prepare an internal controls manual, but are you talking about it? Mm-hmm. So anytime that there's something that comes up and there's maybe an apparent weakness or just an enhancement, we get that documented. So they know that this is a live document that we're constantly, it's on the forefront.
Not on the shelf.
Yeah, exactly.
So on page 8, those are the 17 principles pushed out by SBA that you have to follow the guidelines.
Yes, exactly. And with all the stated, yes, with the principles, exactly.
Those haven't been modified, that's
Yeah.
basically what they presented. Okay.
So, anyway, so she's done a great job of getting this started and going through it. And the fact that she, you know, I mean, you did that without the State Board of Accounts recommending it, I think is phenomenal too. Because
Well,
usually we're having to recommend this.
When I tried to give them that 1,000-page document, they tell me to go pouncing.
Yeah.
more or less.
They
So
didn't like that, Marla?
They
Yeah.
didn't like that.
So
They
is
did
there,
not want to
is
read
there
it.
is there a specific deadline when this has to be ratified or approved by the council?
Not really, but what I
Sooner
had
than later.
discussed with Kelly, I'd like to get it out there.
Okay.
Particularly as we face our ACFR audits, or GAP audits, right? But there's some coordination from, like the guest services reps, and again, community development, you know, probably like parks and welcome. So just, it's gonna be enhanced constantly, but I think the fact that we're moving ahead with it because it's a living document,
Right.
we can always add to it.
Exactly.
When we know we're missing something, but we'll try and cover our bases as best we can going.
So as far as, could you send this out to us in PDF document that we can make comments in it and then get those back to you and then you can answer the comments or assemble the comments and then push it back out and then a proposed timeline of when you wanna maybe introduce it to other departments within the city, then get it back to the council and then kind of that process.
Okay.
Specifically stay on that timeline, but we wanna make sure we get it vetted well throughout the process unless John or Patrick, you have other suggestions on how to go about that?
Nope.
PDFs from each one of those.
That sounds good.
Yeah,
I was gonna recommend putting it out on a OneDrive that we all could put our comments on everything, but that's not.
No, that would be,
Cannot-
that would be a
can't do
serial
that.
meeting.
Yep,
Can't
we
do
can't,
that.
we can't do that, that's what I
I
was
love
thinking.
that.
That'd be the best way to do
Thanks,
it, but.
Did my job for
I
me.
try my best, Kate. You may
That'd be
be doing
that would
this
be the
mission.
most efficient way of doing it, but not, yeah.
Not for government.
Yeah, that's
It's
We gotta
how it
government.
goes.
Meet the open doors.
well, obviously it is currently linked in its draft form, but I'll change it for you and send it back out to everybody, so.
Okay,
But it probably makes more sense if I can try to button up a couple more of the pieces before sending it out so that we're not going back and forth on the parts I know that are missing that I have some control over, so.
would you guys wanna, us three look at it first and then before it comes out for a resolution with the other council members and then with us three vet it first? Or just get it out to everybody?
I'd say get it out to everybody.
Get it out.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think we'll save some
Save
Okay.
time.
valuable time.
Yeah, if you can just
Okay.
do an introductory email, send it to the council members saying that this was presented at today's finance committee or whatever it was, and then this is for a first glance, these are the steps we're gonna be going through internally with departments. We'll give you a first look at it if you have any initial feedback or comments, and later it'll come back to you in a formal draft that
Okay.
is presented to you as a council.
Great.
Then we can send out to the uniform guidance from the State Board of Accounts, so you have something to compare it to.
Is that 1,000 pages?
It is not.
Good.
It's a little more
1001.
streamlined. Exactly.
1001.
Yeah, it is 1001, that's true. Yeah. And.
That's what it feels like, really, when you're going through it.
Right, it does. But they do have some good examples in there, you know, if you're, you wanna see just what they're recommending as far as, how to address a particular control, they do have some good information in there. And maybe have a shot of espresso with you when you're reading it.
Yeah, unless you need to take a nap,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Prefer a double.
Yeah, it's riveting information, but it's good.
So that's about it on that, unless you guys have any other questions, but.
I think I'm good at this time, so move on to the next items on the agenda are the clerk treasurer's review of the monthly reports, revenue summary, fund report, and appropriation report.
Well, I hope everybody has their espresso ready, right? I know this is never the most exciting thing, and really what I can tell you, the only thing that I feel like needs addressed out of all three is, and Danielle and Kelly are aware, Fund 255 is in the negative, and it has been now for 2 months. So we wanna make sure that, we likely will have to do an additional appropriation, I suppose, is the idea, to get this one rated.
That's the fund you brought up last month, correct? You gave us a head up.
And I forgot, what's the
So there's monies
balance there?
in the non-reverting fund, right, though? For events, cause this is to do with one of the events that should have been taken out of.
Well, we had transferred everything for parks programming to this line, and so that fund is now zero.
Zero, okay. For some
so-
reason I thought there was.
They do bring in, God bless you, they bring in revenues pretty much every month for sponsorship twice, bless you twice. And, but I think their spending is just kind of exceeding their revenues right now. But we really aren't supposed to carry a negative balance on any fund, so that's why I was hoping we could find a way to clean it up. I'm open to,
So is this a
Any
one-time
recommendation?
expense that has driven it over, or is this ongoing through the balance of the year? And I guess the question is, what can be done to curb some of the expenses between now and the end of the year if it's not a ongoing operational expense.
They are ongoing, but it's for, like, they're different events, obviously, like they have Barktoberfest coming up. And so I don't know what those revenues are gonna look like, and I continued to hope that it would just write itself. But given that we're gonna be heading into month 3, I really,
Were some of these
Can we
carries
fix
over from the eclipse early on in the year?
Yes, I think it was. I think
Eclipse was
I
in
think-
there.
Yeah, I think the eclipse is the big
I thought the eclipse
component
was
of
one
that
them.
one, but let me dive into it with Matt. I'm
Let's
not
get
sure
the
he
positives.
knows.
Yeah, can we, I guess what would make sense, when you have a department or a line item like this that has a significant deficit, have we asked Matt for a, what's the word I'm looking for, I guess, expected expenses between now and the end of the year, and what this ultimately will look for? Cause to your point, there's probably he should be able to say, we got income coming in
Coming
here,
in, right.
we got more money going out here, we've got income from this event,
Correct.
here's what we're forecasting
Right.
the balance of the year.
Yes,
And that'll at least, we'll throw a shock at, and we won't be shocked if this is $23 million at the end of the year, if it happens to be that way, cause we will have seen something that is at least put in front of us. Does that make sense?
Yes.
that is 18,000, by the way. That's why I just looked at you like, what, 23 million?
He was over exaggerating.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the end of,
Okay, good.
no, it's not the end of the world, but
Okay,
I think
super.
it's, you
Yeah.
know, you're making a good point, let's point these things out.
Okay, perfect.
Between now and the end of the year, there'll probably be some additional appropriation or moving of money between lines
But-
that were included within the budget to
yes,
kinda
that's
cover
probably what we
those.
need to do.
So when do you think that will come, as well as encumbrances into the next year? Do you think those will be coming in November, December?
We typically haven't done them until December each year.
Just
Um,
while she's cleaning up books before she's
But
ready to close
we
out.
can't carry this negative balance to December.
Nope.
Right, so, but yes, there will be a lot of interfund transfers at the end.
Because I think we've got one even in the counselors for legal fees, you and I talked about the legal fees,
We
right?
do, except you guys are within the general fund and your own department, so you have some extra money, if you will, in your budget that could cover that overage, but this is 255, not 101.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah, makes sense.
But, so that's why
Yep.
it's kind of hot on my list. Other than that, I'm happy to go over any of the other funds or reports, but you tell me what you'd like to look at, because again, none of it was mind-blowing.
No, I mean, I looked through it, most everybody's within their budget, I think MVH or LRS was like 37% or something like that, whatever, but
Do you
I know
wanna-
how that's just expenditures throughout the year, and some of those will kind of balance out before the end of the year, so unless there was any other ones you guys
So
specifically saw.
timing. Just timing.
It's-
of
yeah,
dollars
it's
coming in.
timing.
Right, so, I don't wanna belabor anything or take up anybody's time, but if you'd like us to scroll through them, we can. I just didn't have anything that I saw was some major highlight you want.
Did you have your red line version, red, green line?
No, I'll have that at the end of this month for next month. Third quarter is what I think you're wanting, right? Okay.
Okay.
Or-
Sorry, can I back up real quick?
Yeah.
Because this is what it was not 255, it was his general fund. He has plenty of money in his promotions line item.
Okay,
That's where it was like, hang on, I know there's like 300,000 somewhere. Cause I
okay,
remember pulling that up in his promotion line item. In that, so we can move probably
okay.
things from 255 to his general fund and clear this up.
So he doesn't really need this line?
He does, but I'm just
Oh.
saying maybe we can take some of the expenses from an event and put it into his promotions, like if they got things from Oriental Trade, I don't know,
Okay.
right? You
I was
see what I'm
gonna say
saying?
maybe, yeah,
Or the Eclipse, or put all the Eclipse money into that line, because that was like a one-time.
Or if there were things that were in that line item that's in the negative, that should have really hit the appropriations, can you do fund transfers?
Misha doesn't like it.
Well, not in between different fund numbers.
Even if they accidentally hit the wrong account.
Well, the thing is,
Once you
that
hit it-
he
once you hit it, you
tells
hit it.
us,
Right.
take it from this line, it's got his approval, so we're following that order, so to
So
say. That's where it's a little backwards, I get what you're getting at, it might be a lot easier to just say, let's do an additional appropriation that is not really an additional appropriation of extra funds, but would be seen as one of those additional appropriations of transfer, so we still have to, I still have to
Notice.
formally send it, but it would be a net neutral proposition.
Let Matt and I go through all of his expenditures underneath that line, cause
Okay.
he is still new. I'm gonna give
Right.
him the newbie hat a
There you
little
go.
bit.
I'm totally fine with it. Totally fine with
And see
it.
if it was.
I'd like to fix it in the
Right.
most efficient way possible.
Correct.
And it's not that I mind going through the motions of doing it, but it would be,
Easier.
it's a lot easier when you're basically telling them, hey, we're just taking it from one place and putting it in another, not really asking for more money.
It's kind of like when we look at the claims, sometimes we'll send you an email, why did they hit this or why did they hit that?
Right, yeah, you have to ask the person who
The
approved
person that did it, they probably hit
Right.
the wrong account.
Right.
You know, just
Right.
accidentally put the wrong
That's
number
what I'm
in or the
thinking.
wrong description.
Right, so we'll work together to get that one done.
Sorry, I was like sitting here going,
No,
I know I
you're
saw
fine.
like money sitting somewhere that I was like, hang on, there's money.
I still wish we signed the claims all by hand.
Each one?
I miss those days. I used to get like 3 or 4 binders, brown envelopes,
Wow.
sit at home at the kitchen table, put Post-it notes on them and give them back to
Oh, boy.
Cindy.
Did a horse deliver them too?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Remember that? You remember that, John?
Well,
That's when you came.
when I
about
got
when you came
here and you guys were passing paper all over the place, I thought I was gonna lose my mind.
All right.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Something
Again,
about
if
that.
anything under appropriations or the revenue summary you wanna look at that you're aware
I'm
of?
good. I'm good if you guys are.
Okay, fine.
We'll move on.
Well, I can tell you about investments a little bit, more this month. Things have hit the skids, so to speak, not horribly, but we're down 36 basis points from where we were at the beginning of August. So we went from 5.20 to, as of this morning, much to my dismay, 4.84. And then treasuries, we have 2 treasury notes that are maturing, one this month and one next month. And obviously, we knew there was going to be a rate decrease from the Fed, sorry. I was trying to be a little proactive, and having spoken with our investment banker, I liquidated some money in the liquidity portal and purchased 2 bonds to replace these 2 that are maturing, hoping to achieve the highest rate possible. And all this happened the day before the Fed lowered the rate. So I was able to secure us 3.5 and 3.4 on 2 separate notes that will mature at 18 months and 2 years. Which was what was recommended, and then I sadly saw on the news that no one knows what they're talking about. And that maybe it went to 3.6, but regardless, it's not really, I'm not trying to chase yield more than secure good investments. So regardless, as these then mature, we'll just be putting that money right back in to the general fund in Goldman Sachs and letting that earn some more interest too. But so it'll look a little bit different for 2 months. It looks like I increased our investments, but just for full transparency, I really did not. I'm just supplementing hopefully a better rate, and who knows what's gonna happen there. So that's the big news on the investment front. And that's all I've got on that.
Okay, city administration comments, Danny? Any how about your staff, anything? You guys have anything?
Do you have anything?
Not right now.
Yeah, this, I hope that you guys got our census review sent out to council. We haven't heard any comments back for
I
tonight.
looked at it.
But yeah, I mean, any comments at all from anybody?
Well, I don't know if I saw all the information, but I think one of the questions at the last council meeting was, what are all those buckets?
We sent that in an
Did
email.
that,
Yeah, it's in the
Yeah, that's
second
what they
page.
said.
in the second page? Okay.
Scroll down, it
Yeah,
was down
it's
further.
down.
It showed basically profit after
Yeah, it's,
2 years, two
we
and a half years.
validated, what we did in 15-16, and then, you'll see the same thing for this go-round, basically.
Yeah, I think it was originally presented was just like just 2 accounts, and it wasn't all the other accounts associated with it.
Mhm.
So once you kind of roll them all up, then it shows.
Yeah.
That's it.
Clerk treasurer comments?
Nothing, you guys know everything I've been doing.
I got one question. Did we ever get the cash box settled?
Jog my memory, cash
We're
box.
here.
Um,
No.
we're only,
They're receiving, taking
Yeah.
we're not
cash,
taking cash.
payments.
We haven't had anybody come in to pay cash, and if we do, we'll just tell them we need exact cash.
I think we did though. It
We
might have
did
been
send
an
an email
email
out.
this
You
morning.
did send, oh, I didn't see
No,
an
it
email
would have been,
today.
let me see, I have it.
What's the difference, what's the notice on the door of no cash payments? What's the difference between what you're talking about here?
That's what we're talking
That's what
about.
we're talking about.
So no cash payments at all? or
Unless it's exact.
Unless it's exact,
But we haven't had a single person come in.
That's in the fine print, it's real small.
yeah, nobody's come in and been a concern with anyone?
Pat's had 2 emails and that's it.
You get all of them.
I'm
Yeah,
co-
all
I'm
the
co- I'm
email.
coming in,
Nice.
I'm coming
Right,
in
yeah.
next month with
Yeah.
1 penny less. I'm gonna do a credit card transaction per penny.
But there you go.
Fringy on
What if you don't want change? I got my storm bill, it's $14.83.
You're like,
Here's my
85.
$15,
Yeah.
people.
Yes,
I swear I had one this morning.
right, exactly.
Mhm. Let me see.
But they haven't had anybody complain about it in the front desk. They haven't had anybody come in and
It's good.
say, I want to pay cash.
It's a common question today in businesses, cause a good number of businesses, regardless if it's public or private, are doing the cashless transactions.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody that's normally coming in, I mean, we get very few little stormwater people, right, that come in and pay cash or used to. Most of them are for the C of Os and their permits, and they're all builders, right, or vendors, and they wanna use their credit card.
Pay cards.
I'll try to maybe get DJ to stop by and see.
Well, I can't find the email that I swear I thought I saw, so now I feel crazy, but I will.
It's usually coming from me.
I will follow
Could
up
be.
and see if I really saw that come across my screen or not. But,
You
since I
should put
can't
that-
find
You should
it,
put that out on that uni portal and see how many comments you get.
oh, no
Oh,
thanks.
I've seen you respond to a few.
I do sometimes, but I'm not gonna just say I feel crazy.
Yeah,
Got a lot of emails this morning, so I'll see if I can't find it. But other than that, no, I think I'm good there.
Other counselor comments, John, or?
Nope, no comments.
Motion to adjourn,
So moved.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
easy peasy.
Record time, folks, thank you.
I like it.
It's Oscar.
Oh my
It's Oscar.
Hi, Oscar.
Wow. About Oscar.